A long time ago, on a comics page far, far away. Greetings and welcome to May the Panel Be With You, the Star Wars comic book show brought to you by the Punch Up Entertainment Network. This week, maybe not so much comics, because I, as always, am your humble host, Mike Argoni, and joining me, as always, the Mandalorian to my Grogu, it's John Campbell.
Yeah, hey everybody, we're doing something a little bit different this week because we just found out that Star Wars isn't just a comic book franchise.
There are these movies they make sometimes.
Yeah, what? Why didn't anyone tell us about this?
How could we have known?
Yeah, this is we thought this is something I think we'll do from time to time when they put out new Star Wars content in
Sure.
of the film variety, or
Well,
I can't say we won't talk about a video game maybe at some point someday.
Hey,
too.
Look, they just announced as of this recording, they announced the street date for Zero Company, and I saw so excited for that game.
Big thumbs up to Zero Company.
Yeah.
As a lover of tactical military stuff,
Totally.
Ooh, that's scratching a niche for me.
I mean, I know you and I were both fans of the XCOM games.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Once again, that's a real specific nerdy interest of mine.
Totally.
Yeah, that's the guy who reads Tom Clancy novels, part of me for sure.
But I am also super excited for Galactic Racer. They dropped the story trailer for that as of this recording just recently.
I didn't know. I gotta watch that. I didn't know there was a story.
There is a story, and it involves like big racing personalities in the Star Wars galaxy and heated rivalries. And there's a line in the trailer that just made my heart sing, which is, what was it? People don't race Sebulba. Only legends race Sebulba.
Yes. Let's talk up Sebulba some more. I love it.
And as a fan of the original pod racing video game, it looks like a very spiritual successor to both that and a little bit of the Burnout franchise, which was a really fun racing game series.
I remember those. Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying, we thought, look, there's plenty of Star Wars stuff that isn't comics related, and maybe people might be interested in us talking about that. And also, this is the first time in about 6.5 years, I believe it's been, since a Star Wars movie was in theaters. Thereabout.
Yeah. The last movie, of course, is the film we shall not name, back in 2019.
Can't talk about it. We're not allowed to.
But we're not only are we talking about today The Mandalorian and Grogu, the new Star Wars film that is in movie theaters. I know, hard to believe. But we're also talking about the show that just wrapped up, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord.
Hell yeah.
Which, I mean, I gotta say, right off the gate,
yeah,
that show rules.
Oh, hell yeah. It's so good. I mean, it is aggressively my jam too.
Sure.
Like, it is so dark and underworldy and noirish, and oh boy, did I enjoy the hell out of it. I gotta say too, I mean, this is the least hot of takes, but like every time they make another one of these animated shows, you're just like, God damn, the animation has come yet another step further. It just looks better and better each time. God, it looks so good.
I mean, we're already like bubbling effusively about it, so we might as well leap in. Let's start with Maul.
Yeah.
Maul was a 10-episode show that they just wrapped up a little while ago. We've already confirmed we're getting a season 2, so don't worry, nerds. We'll keep going along this story.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me back in the halcyon years of 1999, when I saw that red guy chopped in half and flung down a hole, that he would eventually become one of my favorite Star Wars antagonists in all of history, I'd be like, I mean, he was cool looking, but really?
Well, that's the interesting thing about Maul, right? Is Maul was kind of a Boba Fett, and like, he showed up in that movie. I think he has 2 lines of actual dialogue,
spoken by Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah. And as of course, as a kid, he had a double-bladed lightsaber, and he looked like a demon, and he was rad. And I had a shirt with him on it and his action figure. But yeah, he was not, a character.
He was mean and scowly and said,
Yeah.
"We shall reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we shall have revenge."
And I thought it was rad as hell that he got cut in half. Like, I was like,
Sure.
"Oh, badass." That shot of him falling and you just watch his body go, it's like, "Oh." But no, I sure as hell didn't. And I will say, when they initially brought him back, I went, "Oh God." Like, because just being after decades of comic fandom, right? You start to go like, "Oh, does death not exist in Star Wars now? Oh boy, here we
I
go."
mean, it always didn't, John. From like day one, we had Obi-Wan's ghost being like, "Use the Force, Luke."
I will say, it's possibly a problem in genre fiction across the board that death is that literally we didn't do an episode about Mortal Kombat 2, but several characters die in that movie, and I just went, they'll be back in Mortal Kombat 3. It's fine.
Well, because there's a plot point in that film where they have to go get a dead character.
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat may be the ultimate of course, death doesn't exist because, you can always just play the next game and, oh, Scorpion's back or
Yeah,
whatever,
look, you
I
go
mean,
to the
but
character select screen between each match, and they're all there.
oh, yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Even in the game, death doesn't exist really. I ripped out a guy's spine, but you can still play him on the next level.
Right.
But but I will say, by God, and I got to put. I mean, I'm sure it's a team effort. There's a lot of things, but this is a real like thank you, Dave Filoni, who basically gave us the actual character of Darth Maul, right?
Right, because developing him as a character was something exclusively done, at least for mass audiences, in the Clone Wars TV show. There had
Yes, yeah,
been like other novels and comics that like built the character, though even a lot of those, especially in the comics front, were more like, damn, Maul is cool and badass.
yeah. I was gonna say I remember reading some of those, and even still, I don't remember him being super fleshed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, because once again, but it's that Boba Fett thing of it's so tantalizing. You are like, what is that guy's deal? And the more you get into Dathomir, and you're like, oh, there are other guys that look like this, and and then, but yes, not very long into Clone Wars, I started to be like, this character is so fascinating, and honestly, is almost a new character, except for his drive against Sidious,
Yeah.
obviously it begins in Phantom Menace. You can't remove him from that. But my God, and this show in particular, focusing on him, kind of. I will say, actually, it's an interesting thing because I've talked to some people who go like, I don't want to watch a show about Maul. That guy sucks. Like he's a bad guy. I'm like, watch it because it's not really. I mean, Maul is a main character in it, and I know it's
Yeah,
called
for
Maul,
sure.
but there are plenty of other characters for you to latch onto in
Yeah.
this thing. And I think
More
that's one of the
heroic
strengths
characters.
and I think that's one of the strengths of it is all the characters are really well done in this. It's not
Yeah.
just the Maul show because I do think Maul would be a tough character to follow solely for 10 episodes.
Well, and Star Wars has always been about the ensemble. There is no Star Wars thing really that is like we're going to stick with one character and disregard everybody else.
Look at Andor. I mean, it's called
Yeah.
Andor, but Andor is but a player in the whole, web of rebel stuff that's going
We
on
have
there.
whole episodes of Andor where Andor's barely in it.
Right. And there are episodes of Maul here where Maul has, lesser to do. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a whole episode
exactly.
where Maul is trapped in rubble
Yeah.
and like
Which is
stumbling around.
one of the better episodes.
It's really good. It's really good. And the weird, I love how trippy that got.
Yeah. Because, developing Maul as a character, yes, you're absolutely right, is the Filoni of it all.
Yep.
Love him or hate him, and it's weird how much hate has sort of bubbled to the surface since he
Yeah,
was announced as
because
the heir
and
apparent.
I know, and boy, that pisses me off because I think I speak for this show when I'd say we're firmly in the love camp on a Dave Filoni.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, like, look, you make any franchise stuff for long enough, there are going to be low points and high points. But overall, everything Filoni has been involved with, at least in like a creative, like day to day, I'm running the show sort of operations,
Yeah.
hasn't been bad in my opinion. We can talk
No.
about Star Wars Resistance, and that's kind of its own thing.
Yeah, but I mean, and look, one could say maybe I'm letting him off the hook on this, but like that was kind of a corporate mandated thing, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's less involved there than he is in like Clone Wars or Rebels. I'll say
But it
that
was
much.
sort of a thing about like, hey, stop doing Rebels and do a thing where, that connects more to the movies we want to make.
Yeah.
That always felt to me like the bastard child to begin with.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, I'll say this much: he's not listed as a director on any of those episodes.
I think that shows.
He's listed as created by and developed by.
Well, I also
But
say the animation of it is so clearly different too that's also very easy to just sort of put it over here.
yeah, he's not listed as a series writer on any of the episodes, really.
It shows.
Yeah.
It shows. Both of the things we're talking about on this episode are heavy Filoni
Sure.
influence, and he's writing credits on both. So, but I will say, and I don't want to get into this too much, of course, because I do want to talk about these projects individually. But yes, with the announcement of Filoni being sort of the chief creative officer, because I will say it's really interesting to me, and I've said this before, and this was happening when everybody was looking for their Feige. I'm like, I don't think you're going to find a Feige, because a Feige is a rare thing to find, which is like a brilliant producer who's also a great creative mind. Those don't really exist. And if you look at the things look at over at Marvel with Peter Safran and James Gunn, and I'm gonna have to look up the name of the woman who is because there's two people that are running Star Wars, and it sort of seems like, yes, the actual way to do this most of the time is to have a creative person and like a business person.
Right.
It's very rare to find somebody who's both. That's the magic of Kevin Feige.
Kathleen Kennedy, for as much as people like to villainize her, was more in that producer mold. I mean, that's her career, is a big producer.
She was never a writer or a director on anything, nor did she want to be, as far as I can tell.
The problem is, for mass audiences, they don't know what a producer does. And that's not necessarily their fault. I don't necessarily know what the date, but what it comes down to, for those who don't know, is, broadly speaking, what a producer does on big Hollywood projects is they wrangle resources, whether that be personnel or financing or what have you. Producers are logistics specialists in a lot of ways.
And then they wrangle that together, and then it's a lot of putting out fires. So it's a lot of hard to define. If there's trouble over here, you step in. If there's trouble over there, you step in. If you need to get between the studio and the director, you're the gatekeeper there to protect the vision of that stuff. And say what you will about Kathleen Kennedy, I think she did a lot. Number one, here's the thing that this taught me is she announces she's retiring. Filoni steps in. All of a sudden, Filoni's taking a lot of shit. I'm just like, oh, it doesn't matter who takes over Star Wars, does it? You're going to just take shit. And I get why. I've seen a number of filmmakers be like, I would never make a Star Wars movie. And that has nothing to do with my fandom for the franchise. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Who was it who just had this quote? It was, oh, crap. What's her name? Played Kira in Solo and Daenerys Targaryen.
Oh, Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark. She had some quote that was just like, I understand some people don't like that movie. I don't take it personally. That's a healthy view to take. But when there are sections of the quote-unquote fandom that are sending like death threats and like have such like boiling neck vein pulsing hatred for whatever it is they're going to produce, like, it puts anyone in that position into a really awkward corner.
Lin-Wen Brennan is the co-president of Lucasfilm with Dave Filoni.
And has that transition already happened?
I don't know. Yes, it has, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. As of this year is the turnover.
Okay.
2026. So, this is, but Lin-Wen Brennan is, as they say, oversees corporate operations, production strategy, and business, which is good because a Dave Filoni either doesn't want to or probably doesn't know how. I mean, I couldn't do that. I could never be a producer. Like, that's just not my brain doesn't work that way. Same thing with like a James Gunn. You have a Peter Safran to be like, somebody needs to figure out the budgets,
Right.
Dave Filoni just wants to be like, let's do this. And then somebody else has to figure like, okay, well, we're going to have to go get studio space somewhere to,
which catering company are we using for craft services? Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of stuff is, and you don't want a Dave Filoni doing that. You gotta free up his time, man.
Right. Exactly.
Give him time to create. So Maul Shadow Lord, this takes place pretty where does this take a few years after Clone Wars?
This roughly because
Yeah.
Star Wars time is always wonky and like
Yeah.
who knows, but
Yeah.
10-ish years.
Okay. That
There's a
makes sense.
20-year window between the end of the Clone Wars and A New Hope, and
Mhm.
Rebels takes place 5 years before Rebels starts, I'll say, 5 years before A New Hope. So this
Yes.
is like 7 to 10 years after the end of the Clone Wars.
Right. Yeah. So we're looking at a Maul, and we're looking at a Maul who, I mean, is essentially building to that cameo that he has in Solo.
He's building to that cameo that he has in
It's
Solo,
like
and
King of Crimson Dawn kind of stuff.
yeah, but that is also before his fall, which is where we pick up with him in Rebels. Because in
Correct. Yeah.
Rebels, he's lost everything, and he's like a
Yeah.
rat in a hole.
I love all that stuff. Once again, I almost every decision they've made with Maul has been fantastic. And in this is my favorite Maul. I love the idea of Agent of Chaos, like wild card Maul. He's no rebel, but boy does he hate the Emperor.
Yeah, and obviously, if you've read the comics, which if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming you've read some of them.
Yeah.
There was a whole crossover event that, while it didn't feature Maul, it did feature the legacy of that hatred building toward the whole crossover event with like Bounty Hunter War and like the hunt for Han Solo in the comics and everything when Kira and Crimson Dawn came back.
For sure. That stuff was great. I loved all that stuff. What was that called? Crimson Rain?
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. But yes, I do love this idea here where in this case we're seeing Maul as just like, I mean, this firmly places him in the gangster world of, and you get to see all the gangstery characters, and I do love all the like Godfather sort of stuff that's going on here in this show.
Yeah, I mean, all of the politicking of like bringing all of these crime lords together only to have them kill each other. Also, Maul can position himself to swoop in and take over business interests here and there. All of it kind of circling around this idea that he's not even really letting everyone in on, that he's going to be using all of this to undermine the Empire.
Oh yeah, I mean, Maul is out for Maul and his people. We see that he has loyalty to his people. Of course, a lot of them don't make it, and it's very upsetting to him.
It's actually pretty wild how much of his crew gets mowed down by the end of this show.
I know they started dropping in those last 2 or 3 episodes. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I did start to go like, who's he got left? My God, because of course he's got the couple Dathomirians,
Which are creations for this show. I've never seen those two before.
yeah, okay, good. I was like, do I know? Because I will say, as much as I watch all this stuff, I don't have quite the encyclopedic knowledge. So there are several characters. I'm like, should I know who this is? Okay, so he's got
the only one that's like maybe tier 2 that like she's been in a lot of stuff, but whether or not you recognize it's the same character, Rook Cast, the like main Mandalorian who's with him, she's been kind of with him since the Clone Wars stuff. She was featured heavily in the Son of Dathomir comic, in which the Mandalorians break him out of
I would not have been
prison.
able to tell you. I would not have been able to tell you her name, but I do know that she is the Mandalore, because there are also remnants of Mandalore that are still with Maul here too.
Yeah, well, right up until they all get slaughtered, but yeah,
they all go down. Is my point. So yeah, we have Maul sort of at the beginning. He's sort of weaving. It's a very classic noir gangster movie thing of sowing distrust within a criminal organization to turn people against each other. It's very Dashiell Hammett's Red Harvest kind of stuff where you're playing gangs against each other.
You read Batman and Robin Year One, yeah?
Oh, of course I did.
Right.
Who you talking?
The whole plot of that comic is this like gang manipulation thing. The show definitely reminded me of that.
For sure. And by the way, if you haven't read Batman and Robin Year One, read it. It's amazing. Especially
with the Clayface movie just around the corner. Might be some interesting tidbits in there.
Oh, I can't wait for that movie. So we have Maul sort of turning these. Can I talk about one of the gangsters I loved, which is Ludi Vario? He's a Joe Pesci character.
He's a Joe Pesci character who is so short as to be hilarious.
Absolutely. He's also, I mean, across the board, as always, the voice cast is unbelievable in this.
Yeah.
And Chris Diamatopoulos plays him, who's an actor I love and is one of the most versatile actors ever.
What do I
He's an
know this guy
amazing voice
from?
actor.
Oh, I've
Everything.
seen this guy in everything. Yeah, for sure.
Because he's one of these my favorite actors are always people who can just do anything, can become anything, and he is one of those guys where it's almost his lack of fame is almost due to how unbelievable he is at being stuff. I mean, this is a
Mm.
guy because do you know I only as much as a fan of I only recently found out that he has been the official voice of Mickey Mouse for like 15 years now. And it
Really?
is unbelievable to see that voice come out of him.
Huh.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
he's an
looking at his
incredible.
IMDb page right now. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. He can do anything. He played Moe in the Fairley Brothers Three Stooges movie, which I mean, say what you will about the movie, but his performance is amazing.
Sure.
He's an incredible actor, stage actor as well. Anyway, and
Oh,
I
he
love.
played the robot president in Inside Job. I love that show.
Hmm. He works.
Robotus.
He is an amazing. Yeah, 20 since 2013. He's been the voice of Mickey Mouse.
Wow,
Uh,
good for him getting
yeah,
that Disney
yeah.
money.
Oh, 100%. And he takes it really seriously too. Like he's really like because actually very few people have been the voice of Mickey Mouse, and of course the original was Walt himself.
He was
So
also
you know,
Green Arrow and like a crap ton of DC animated stuff.
yeah,
Hmm.
he's
Okay.
great. Also, I will say, as someone who dabbles in voice acting, not fair that this guy's an amazing voice actor and that handsome in real life. Uh,
Yeah.
you should be a weird little goblin creature like the rest of us.
Like the rest of us, yeah.
Sam Witwer is a good-looking guy too. We should talk about Sam Witwer, who is, of
Who
course, the his ability to do the Maul voice. I'm always blown away when this is like there's not an ounce of his real voice in Maul's voice, and it's amazing to me when you see him turn that on. You're like, oh my god,
if there is a second person you can credit for the like revitalization of Maul as a character, it is
yeah,
Sam Witwer. The way he
sure,
talks from like an acting standpoint and how he like processes this
yes,
character is way more
yes,
thought than maybe needed to be put into it, but it's that kind of ferv and dedication that
because
comes
he's
out in the performance and also comes out when he talks about the psychology of the character that makes people go
big.
like, "Ooh, there's something here."
Absolutely, and I think it's and that's it's no slight on Serafinowicz, who had nothing to go on, but I also will say he is still pinning it on some of that timbre and resonance of Serafinowicz's voice, and then expanding because also this is a Maul who speaks quite eloquently, and he's quite gentlemanly even in his speech. You know,
Until
like
he's screaming at you and
yeah,
saying, "Die."
yeah. My favorite line in the whole show is when the Inquisitors capture him and say the Emperor wants you dead, and he says, "Likewise."
Oh, so good.
And then he does his new patented move, I guess, which is tearing a roof down on people.
I mean, look, if you're gonna
I
be trying to
adore it.
avoid a dark side user in any kind of way, really there's one move, and that's bring the ceiling down on them.
It's so good when he does it. And then also, I guess we should put the spoiler warning on this because what I'm about to say. But of course, there's a spoiler warning, as there always is when we talk about these things. When he brings it down on Vader, and then Vader's just pushing the rubble.
Ugh.
Boom, boom. The Vader. I mean, I don't. The Vader episode.
The
The finale.
whole last episode of this show is just absolute peak Star Wars to me.
It's so good. The decision to never have Vader speak and only have the breathing. Oh my god. And so just making him the here's the thing I was thinking watching that last episode. It's amazing to me. And I'm well on the record to saying Darth Vader's the greatest villain in movie history. I won't even hear an argument. Like it's just but I will say I think this no, he just is. I'm
He's
sorry. Just
iconic, yeah.
design
Yeah, no, for sure.
and then his backstory only adds to that he's this tragic fallen hero. It's just perfect. It's a perfect creation of a villain. But here's another indication of why he's the greatest villain in film history is as much as we know about him, as many times as we see him, he can still be scary as fuck. And that's near impossible. That's
Yeah.
near impossible. Because by the second or third time you see Jason in a Friday the 13th movie, you're like, I'm not really scared of him anymore.
Freddy
Vader
Krueger
still
becomes a
shows up.
joke, but when
Every
Vader
villain does.
crashes through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man, you're like, oh, fuck.
Even though we know that's Anakin Skywalker in there, we know that what will become of him. We know that he dies as a frail old man inside of a robot body. He still shows up, and you're like, Jesus Christ, get away from him! Oh my God!
Well, what's
It's
super
amazing.
fun about using Vader in this particular time period is because you know how the story ends. You know that he can't be stopped.
Oh right, yes, that there is some of that, and also it is like, and they're doing a lot of this because obviously the Rogue One scene that everybody talks about for this reason.
Sure.
This episode in particular, pieces of Obi-Wan as well, things in
The
Rebels.
the end of Jedi Survivor.
Yeah,
Or
all
Fallen
that.
Order, I should say.
Yeah, Fallen Order. All that stuff is like, oh, this is why everybody talked about Vader as like, oh shit, in the other movies, right? Because you only really in the trilogy you do see him do some badass stuff, but it's mostly when he walks in, he already carries this mythos with him. He already has his reputation precedes him. This is the reputation.
People crap on Disney era Star Wars, quote unquote.
Yeah,
Disney era Star Wars has done more to make Vader a scary badass than all the Star Wars that came before.
And as you said,
in a visual medium.
If you have any love for the Maul character, that's basically all Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if you go like, well, Clone Wars, it got rolled in, man.
Yeah.
It got rolled in. I consider that part of Disney Star Wars because the guy who created that is now in charge of Disney Star Wars. So I'm sorry, the Clone Wars is de facto Disney Star Wars. You can't have it. I'm sorry.
And I mean, look, there's a lot that went into the Clone Wars genesis, right? You have Dave Filoni, and even at the start of that, you have Lucas still kind of at the helm.
Yes, you do, and I've seen the videos as everybody has of Lucas sitting in the writers' room and talk. And I will say those are some of my favorite Lucas things because he's most clear-eyed and like cognizant and really has some interesting things about Star Wars in those meetings where I'm like, where was this guy when he was making the prequels?
Yeah, I mean, to hear Filoni tell it, Lucas is pitching some of my favorite episodes, which is like the Zillo Beast attack on Coruscant.
There's a great video that just came into my feed the other day of him talking about like what it is that leads you to the dark side, and I just go like, I was sitting enraptured of George talking about how someone has turned to the dark side, and I'm just like, was any of this? And well, it's always why Lucas needs to pontificate and then somebody else needs to turn that into a script, I think.
Which is what Filoni, by all accounts, was doing on Clone Wars.
And that's the thing, because I also have heard people bag on Filoni as a Lucas sycophant, which I don't think he is. I think he is a translator in some ways, right? I think he's like, I see what you're saying, George. Here's how you would make a character say that, like, right? Like,
here's how people speak.
Right, that's the thing. It's like I think Filoni is a very good writer. Lucas, his downfall has always been as a writer. He's an amazing storyteller. He's not a particularly great writer, and those are different things. And there are a lot of people like that. I mean, I think Stan Lee was that.
Yeah, no, that's a bold take. But
his actual scripts are pretty rough, but his ideas amazing. Yeah. I think it's hard. I think honestly, I think Spielberg is that, and that's why he doesn't really write his scripts. But you often see story by Steven Spielberg.
We keep heaping praise on Filoni, but I do want to highlight another name here, which is Brad Rau.
Yeah.
Brad Rau is a supervising director on every episode here. He's also one of the supervising directors on Bad Batch. This guy was a big part of Bad Batch as well.
Which is also great, of course, because, I mean, once again, you want to hit me with Dirty Dozen in Star Wars. I'm there for that, too.
Yeah, he was also, he goes back to Rebels. He started working with Filoni back on Rebels. And, but this is a guy...
Bring up, Matt Mikanevitz or Michnovitz, who's the co-creator here.
Also that, yes.
Sorry, I just want to bring him up because I think he was the more day-to-day showrunner on this.
Yeah, and
'Cause
he
obviously
also
Filoni's no longer.
is writer and story editor on Bad Batch, and wrote
Yeah,
a bunch of episodes of Rebels. He wrote the game Jedi Fallen Order and did additional writing on Jedi Survivor.
right. Because I think once again, Filoni, especially now being president of Lucasfilm, is going to have to be more overseen, and then maybe kind of like James Gunn, like we know Filoni's making a movie or Filoni's working on Ahsoka. Will have his things where he really zeroes in on, but obviously he can't be there day to day on 5 shows.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I do want to highlight the other characters in this show. We've got Gideon Adlon playing Devon Izara, who is like a new addition. She's this Jedi Padawan that is being torn between this fallen order that she was a part of and being indoctrinated by, and the seduction of Darth Maul in like a, not physically seductive, but in a like kind of the ideology being seductive in the way that the dark side is.
100%. Can I say that Gideon Adlon, I'm a huge fan of her mom, Pamela Adlon, who's an amazing voice actress, and is also in this show, which I was delighted to see because she was the voice of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill, which was one of my all-time favorite shows. Um, but Pamela Adlon plays Rena Sewell in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, man, 2 Adlons, because Gideon is an amazing actress as well. And I really like her on Ghosts on CBS, which is a great sitcom. She recurs on there. But anyway, I mean, and so much of the heart of the show is her, right? Because I mean, Maul is Maul. I mean, at this point, Maul is so laser focused on what he's doing that like his arc, as it were, is to just he's even more pissed off by the end of the season.
Well, and again, that Maul is a
And a lot
character
of
where we know where his end point is.
correct. She's the true wild card story wise, right?
Yeah.
And forgive me for not knowing. People really think she's a Legends character.
Yeah, well, she is and
And
she isn't, right? She's
yeah,
clearly you do not give Darth Maul, this like dark side user with the like markings on his skin that he has. You don't give
fatality.
him a Twi'lek that he's interacting with who has like
Yeah,
pinkish red skin without invoking Darth Talon, who is a character from Star Wars Legacy. We'll get to that book in our coverage eventually.
we're both big fans. Yeah,
But the big thing about Darth Talon is quite honestly just her iconography. She looks cool.
and I think it's another thing where anytime anybody gets real excited about something from the Legends stuff coming into Star Wars, it's kind of like Marvel Comics fans too. Oh, they're doing this. It's like you got to be ready for they're going to take inspiration from that. It's going to be a version of that. But like it's not going to be exactly what you remember cuz it's kind of one of the benefits of that, right? Is what they've done is they've created this pool of stuff in Legends that they can pull from but not be, chained to. You can go like, "Oh, that's a cool idea."
And she just
And then
won't become Darth Talon. She just won't,
no,
because
no,
this is
no.
already a character with more depth and intrigue. Because Darth Talon
Yeah.
was introduced as like, Sith crony for Darth Krayt, who was the main bad guy of a resurgent Sith faction in Star Wars Legacy, which takes place
Well, that's
100 years after the
Well,
original
that's another thing
trilogy.
too. Is like when they said Darth Talon, and then once again, like always in Star Wars, I go Darth Talon, and then I looked at Vision, and went, "Oh yeah, right. Oh, that's Darth Talon." Like once
That's
again, it's just
because
like
you worked in a comic book store and there was a bust of her somewhere in there.
sure, and she looks cool as hell. There's so much Star Wars stuff that makes amazing action figures and art, but then you're like, I want to read about them, and you go like, there's really not much here, or it's so much, or it's tied into so much other gobbledygook that I'm like, I have to read 5 books to even understand what the context of this character would begin to be. It's the Mara Jade of it all, right? When people bring up Mara, I'm like, that is, I don't, don't quote me on this because I don't fucking know. You're never going to get the Mara Jade you want. I will say that you're never going to get the Mara Jade that's
Yeah,
in your
no.
head. You just can't. It's too complicated. It's too thorny.
No, and
And
Mara
it's
Jade was a
it's
result
great.
of multiple writers over multiple books writing a character that was introduced and had like a very interesting kernel and was built over like about a decade of different writers building on this character in interesting ways. To do that
Yeah.
now in the context of the Star Wars we have would be impossible. Could there be a character named Mara Jade who is a paramour of Luke Skywalker in the like post Return of the Jedi period? Maybe.
Possibly.
Won't be
Yeah.
the same character though.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like Thrawn, right? We got Thrawn, but he's not exactly the Thrawn. He's pretty close.
Yeah.
And I mean, but he's you have to. I mean, even Zahn had to go back and write a new version of him, basically,
Yeah.
to fit into this stuff, which is great. Read those books; they're really good.
The Thrawn Ascendancy books are really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Hot take. I will say. Would you go in on this? I think any Zahn is worth your time.
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part.
I would say if you're looking for where to like, there's so many Star Wars books. I would say you kind of can't go wrong with a Timothy Zahn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a
I
lot.
agree.
There's a lot of
Timothy Zahn and Claudia Gray, I'd say, are the two that I would like
Claudia Gray's very good as well.
unambiguously recommend.
Yeah, I have never read anything that I disliked from either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And go through our archives to find Gorgani's interview with Timothy Zahn.
Yeah. Cool guy.
Yeah.
That was such a great opportunity.
Of course.
But yes, Devon becoming Darth Talon is something that fans are going like, ooh, and pointing at the screen. But
well, it's also a classic fan thing of, I think I figured out the thing before it happened.
Sure, come on. Again, like, this is intentional. They don't give Darth Maul a Twi'lek apprentice and not call their shot here, at least to a certain extent. But everyone posting memes of Darth Talon stabbing Rey through the back, going like, this is how it's coming back around. Being like, come on, guys, that's not...
Well, also,
I don't think this character ends up tattooed all over her body and wearing nothing but a bikini fighting anyone else down the road.
I have so much more respect for her than to hope that that's what she becomes, because I think this character is so fascinating, and I think her journey across this first season is so interesting. And this idea of, once again, about what leads you to the dark side is not necessarily what one might think. I mean, in this case, it is out of rage, but it's built up out of, it's always love, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's always your love for something, your inability to let something go, your rage at losing something that leads you.
John, if your TV dad, Dennis Haysbert, died in front of you, wouldn't you be full of rage?
The Dennis Haysbert of it all. Oh my God. My favorite, well, maybe my tied favorite TV president. I have to bring Jed Bartlett into it. I'm sorry.
Sure.
But President David Palmer on 24 meant a lot to me. And just, boy, once again, what perfect casting. That voice is so resident, so wise, and coming out of a little lizard guy.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, there's a reason that he's been the fucking, what is he? Is it
Allstate?
Allstate. Yeah. I can't remember. It was like, yeah. He's been the Allstate spokesman forever, because when he says you're in good hands, you believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's no endorsement. I don't actually have Allstate insurance, but still, I do believe that you'd be in good hands with Dennis Haysbert. No, it's such a great casting choice. And yeah, of course I knew he was going to die because it's the nature of stories, but still, it's very heartbreaking when it happens.
Yeah, for sure. But it
and
is that
heroically sacrificing himself.
Yeah. And Maul kind of has a hand in his death, of course. But
there is that moment where Maul could step in and chooses not to, which is very key.
You're right, but
Maul
it is
sees something in Devon, right? That is,
well, he sees the rage. He sees the person failed by a system in the same way that he was just like cast aside by basically the same system, though they didn't know it at the time. It's all Palpatine. It all comes back to him.
Don't say that. In this case, it does, but I'm just saying, careful with that.
Look, clearly, I and J.J. Abrams had the same idea where that is concerned.
Obviously, it's all Palpatine. Yeah, I just somehow it has to be about Palpatine.
Yeah.
All right. You want to see a great actor die inside saying a line? Anyway,
for real.
Yeah. Can I get to my favorite characters? We haven't talked about my two favorite characters.
Two Boots and Lawson.
You got it. The cop. Finally, let's get some cops in on this thing. Just a couple of work-a-day cops.
I love the sight of a droid with a coffee mug.
That, number one, you cast Richard Ayoade in anything, I'm going to love it immediately.
This is the second time he's played a Star Wars droid, I'll say that much.
Because he's born for it. This one though, but I love the whole idea about like, oh, I can't actually drink calf, but I want the ritual of like you and I partner with our mugs of coffee going over the case.
Yeah.
It's so good. I also just love the whole idea of, because I think it's very easy in Star Wars. Most characters are either, you know, Empire sympathists or rebels.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see a guy who's just like, look, man, I'm just a cop on this planet. Yeah, it's under Imperial control, but like, I try not to think about that, and I mainly just try to like keep my district safe.
It's
It
interesting
is really fascinating
because
to watch a guy just try to do his job in and amongst this stuff.
overall, some of the only other people we've seen who like are neutral parties in these larger galactic conflicts are bounty hunters, which are
Yeah,
almost universally used in an antagonistic context. There are
right.
times when you can hire bounty hunters to do good things. I love the Seven Samurai episode of Clone Wars where it's Anakin and Obi-Wan and like a bunch of bounty hunters protecting the village. That's
Mm-hmm.
we'll get to Embo in a little while, but Embo in that episode.
Embo, yeah.
Um, but
But yes, but those are
seeing a
more like
character who does
shades of
have that
gray.
neutral context, but is from a more workaday like point of view, like you say, some guy who's
Yeah.
just like, I'm just here trying to do my job, man. I
Who
don't want
is
to deal
at
with the
his
Empire
core
or the Rebellion or Jedi or Sith.
is
This
at
is
his
all way too
core a good
much.
guy and is trying to do good in what he can do good in, which is like, I can be a good cop, a good detective in this community.
Yeah,
And the Empire's hanging over our heads, but I can't do anything about that. What I can do is make sure that the laws that keep the people in this area safe are enforced. And I think that's so interesting but also he knows the Empire is shit because there's the whole thing about like, yeah, don't call them about this though, right? Like it is just a thing about like, we don't need that. We don't need that kind of heat. And oh my God, when the Star Destroyer does come in finally and you get the Imperial March and you're just like, oh fuck, here comes the Empire. And it's like, we'll take it from here.
yeah. I mean, as soon as they introduced a cop character who had an estranged wife and is a single dad just trying to make it
Yeah.
by, I was like, well, this is John Campbell's favorite character in Star Wars now.
I love Lawson so much. He's also played by the great, I don't know if it's maybe Wagner or Wagner. I don't know. Wagner Mora, who's a
Hmm.
great actor. I loved him on Narcos.
Hmm.
And he was also in Civil War, not the Marvel Civil War, the movie that's just called Civil War.
Right.
Um, he's a really good actor. He's also kind of looks like what Lawson looks like.
Live action. I mean,
And
there's
that's
no
all
way
I'm
he's
saying.
dead. We don't see a
Nope,
body at the end of
no
this
way in
season.
hell. He disappears into mist, and then there's
Yeah.
some shooting. You don't. Star Wars that's classic Star Wars, right? I didn't
Yeah.
see no body. No, he's
I mean,
coming back.
the same could be
But
said for Rook. We see her get dragged away into the mist, but that was by Darth Vader. Pretty sure she's
yeah,
dead.
I take it that way, but I still think it's on the table. I don't know,
Yeah.
but at
Um,
least badly injured.
you mentioned the scene where the Star Destroyer comes in. I do want to
Yeah,
note, because that like musical note is so impactful. We
yeah,
have a return of the Kiners here for our music. Kevin
yeah.
Kiner has been doing Star Wars TV music since Clone Wars,
Oh
but
yeah,
there is now like a whole tribe of these people. Sean
yeah.
Kiner and Deanna Kiner are on the Maul soundtrack. I think the Maul soundtrack rules. I've
It's
listened to
really
it a
good.
few times now. It's this real like good blend of the Star Wars bombast with like smoky neo-noir like kind of synthetic tunes.
Kevin Kiner has been a huge part of television like for me, a lot of my favorite. He didn't start on, but one of his early jobs was Stargate SG-1, which I know we were
Oh,
both.
yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a Star Trek Enterprise. He was composer for CSI Miami. You remember my obsession with CSI Miami. He was the
Sure.
composer for. So this is a name and then of course then to Clone Wars. Oh, he did Hell on Wheels though, which I also fucking loved Hell on Wheels.
Mm.
You want to give me a 5-season show about the birth of the railroad? You better believe I'm there. Anyway, yes, and he's also done. He did Ahsoka and he did Creature Commandos
Yeah.
over at DC. So I mean, amazing work. And yes, the way he brings in John Williams themes, but finds different ways to put little twists on them and stuff, and it all feels no, it's great. And also the whole look and sound of the show is so I love how dark this show is in a way that's unusual for animation, I feel like.
It is got this Monet-like washed out watercolor vibe
Yeah.
that the Clone Wars art style that has started there and has since like developed over the course of each generation of Star Wars animated shows. It only looks better and better, like we said at the start of the show. But
Yeah.
this one in particular takes some particular artistic swerves that
Yes.
feel like they were taking cues from some of the Visions projects in interesting
Oh,
ways.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I really like how a lot of the backgrounds, especially when it's raining, are more washed out in their like watercoloriness. We get a lot more uh, like destabilization effects on the lightsabers, where they look
That
a little
stuff
bit more
is very
crackly and sweepy when they're coming through the air.
They also look very sharp in a way that I haven't seen. Like even the way they come to a point is
Yeah,
much more sword-like than I've seen before. And some of that is also just the definition of the animation has just gotten so crystal clear that you
totally.
can really see the way that becomes a blade.
Funny little
Uh,
side note, I saw a behind the scenes video about like how they did some of the sound design here and how they mixed some of Sam Witwer's screams into Maul's
oh
lightsaber
yeah,
sounds just to give it
yeah.
a little bit of extra like rah as it's being swung in.
Particularly Maul, and I saw this right from the first episode. Particularly when Maul's blade swings around, it does look like this flame that's coming through the air. That red and the way it
Yeah.
like has these bursts of light in it, and yeah, it looks like he's swinging fire at people. It's really cool.
Yeah. No,
Like
this
it's
whole
just
show is
it's
gorgeous.
yeah, but yeah, as you talk about from the I didn't think about from the um was it the Visions? Yeah, Visions. I
Yeah,
want to
Star
say
Wars
Legends.
Visions.
Yeah, the the ability to be more expressionistic with this stuff. That it's not live action, much like the comics. It allows you to play around with the art style of it a little more. You can make
Yeah.
some interesting choices that you would never even be able to comprehend in a live action setting.
Well, it's just not possible in a live
No,
action
yeah,
setting. Not
that's what I'm
really.
saying.
Not without like
There's
heavy CG use.
and you would end up just being like, what? But
Yeah.
here, you don't even think about it until but if you do notice it, it's very cool. We talked about that episode where Maul's trapped in that broken, Avon, you
Hmm.
know, and the talk about the Monet like watercolor visions that he's seen and stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's really
The
cool.
the
I also love
bits
his
of his
his wreck.
past.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really like the touch of his wrecked legs and the sparking stuff as he's moving through this. It's just
That
it's
was
number one, it makes him more human because
yeah.
obviously it is like Maul's a badass who can't be stopped, and then you're like, well, he is pretty wrecked in that episode.
I like it because it begins a through line that will get us to how we find him in Rebels as this like guy who is like legitimately walking with a cane and kind of like limping through this shadowed underworld they find him in
Big time.
on in the Star Forge, though it's not called that in the episode, but that's what it is. Come on.
Yeah, but
Um
that's what it is. Come on, guys.
But that's another Legends thing. It was like, oh, those of you who've played KOTOR are pointing at the screen right now. That's the Star Forge.
Like I said, I love the ability to like take a little bit of this and that, and for those that know, they know, and if you don't, it's still just a cool thing.
Yeah,
We got to be inclusive, guys.
yeah. Favorite moment in this show? Is it the like the Emperor wants you dead and Maul going
That's up
likewise?
there. I mean, number one, I love the Inquisitor characters to begin with their masks. We're so
This show
creepy.
made the Inquisitors scary.
Yes. I am like, why didn't the Inquisitors always look like this? They look like straight up like slasher movie villains.
For the
I mean,
most
all the
part,
Vader
Inquisitors
stuff.
are there to just get jobbed in other Star Wars
Yeah.
properties.
I was gonna say I mean, obviously, Maul versus Vader is just so fucking good. It's
Yeah.
just, and I mean, the whole last episode with Vader as this just threat. It's not even a Vader story. He's just this figure of pure destruction, this unstoppable force tearing its way through that episode. Rad as hell.
I really love the moment when they're trying to escape on the rooftops, and it's Devin and Lawson's son, and they're fighting off stormtroopers. And there's this moment, I believe it's like when they escape down to the subway, they connect with Maul, and Maul and Devin have this moment where Devin can either choose to leap forward and attack or retreat and cover Devin's son. And you can see Maul leaning on her emotionally. There's no dialogue exchange, but he like lunges forward with a look to her to attack and take the aggressive action, the non-defender action. And she, in this moment, weighs her options and then chooses the aggressive dark side. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It's really good. I mean, I said, all that stuff too. I mean, I love the Maul monologuing too about like you're part of an order that failed you and stuff
Ugh,
like that.
yeah, I could
All
listen to
that,
him loquaciously monologue about the failures of the Jedi all day.
all that stuff is great, and it comes out of a real place where he is manipulating her, but he does believe that at the same time. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the thing about Maul that I think is so interesting as a villain, right? Is like he's not just a scumbag. He's
No.
got a reason. I don't agree with it. He is a bad guy. He's a murderer. You know?
Yeah, no. And like the episode where he's reintroduced, he's killing families and children to lure out Obi-Wan.
He's not a good guy.
No.
Okay, no, but he is a sincere guy, which is interesting.
Sincerity is nothing that Maul
Yeah,
has lacked. It's true.
yeah, and I think that those are always the most fascinating villains to me, right? The guys who are just like, no, don't you see? This has to be done. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe my most off-quoted thing was Guillermo del Toro talking about there's nothing scarier than total conviction.
totally.
And there's just like, nope, there's no way to reason with this guy. He is on
Yeah.
his.
We've talked a lot about Maul Shadow Lord. This show's really good.
We need
It was
to. Yeah,
great.
we need to get to
We need to get to
probably
Mando.
the bigger thing that I mean that. The, okay, we need to talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is in theaters now.
Yes.
The thing about this movie, and I want to start with this because we're recording this a little bit after it's come out, and whatever, it's bombed, it's flopped, according
I think
to
it's
some.
like made its money back mostly.
Yeah, yeah. But I will say the thing I'm tired about, and that's why I'm gonna just get this out, and then we'll talk about the movie itself. I'm tired of every Star Wars movie being like, is this it? Is this going to make or break? It's the same thing we talk about with Marvel, right? Where
Yeah.
every time they release anything, it becomes a referendum on the franchise itself. And so if it doesn't make what people think it should make, dear God, Star Wars is dead.
Yeah, there's a monetary value that's singularly placed on movies that are released in theaters, and if you don't meet that benchmark, does that mean the franchise is dissolved? We're just wrap it up, shut it down, just let's close all the parks, let's take all the toys off the shelves, everyone put your lightsabers in the garbage, it's
Yeah.
over.
Someone's pulling a plush Grogu from a kid. Sorry, kid. He's got to go in the fire.
Not allowed anymore.
Yeah, no. We've outlawed all Grogus now.
Yeah.
It is this weird thing about like, and the other thing I think about, this is a real weird one for that to be, because like, it's the Mandalorian movie. I mean, in some ways, I almost go like, yes, it's a Star Wars movie, but really, it's a Mandalorian movie. It's like if you like that show, and here's my review. If you like that show, you'll probably like this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that show, so I liked this movie.
I like this movie, and it's when people go like, "Oh, the big charisma." It just feels like 4 episodes of the show. I'm like, yeah.
What's interesting, and we've talked about this before, but we're in this strange liminal space where right now this movie exists in theaters, but for perpetuity, from here on out, 6 months from now, it will exist on Disney Plus as like when the final episode of The Mandalorian plays, it will say continue watching, and this will come up.
Yeah. This will be, you're like, oh, you've got to watch 3 seasons of Mandalorian, then you watch the movie, then whatever else they do with the character.
Yeah.
It'll just be like, this will just slot in. And for most people, the history of this thing will be, that's the movie that you watch between seasons 3 and 4.
Right, which is like, what was that show I watched a while ago? Hilda. Did you watch that animated show at all?
No, I know what you're talking about though.
Netflix show, very charming show. But there is a
Yeah,
movie that occurs between seasons 2 and
yeah.
3, and you're just like, oh, well, if you don't watch the movie, like stuff happened in that will make jumping in on season 3 be like, oh, clearly some stuff happened, but I didn't watch that. Same
And
is true
here's
for the X-Files, honestly.
oh yeah, oh yeah. By the way, did you see that there's going to be a director's cut of I Want to Believe coming to Disney Plus?
What? Really?
Chris Carter has recut it to return it to his original darker vision, he says, before
Huh.
the studio meddled. I'm very curious because I've always
Yeah.
been an I Want to Believe defender in the same way I would defend this movie, which when people go like, just feels like an episode of the show, I'm like, an episode of my favorite show with my favorite characters? I'm mad.
Yeah.
Why? Why am I mad? I left that movie perfectly satisfied, I Want to Believe. I was like, I got to see Mulder and Scully investigate a creepy mystery.
Yeah. Oh, that was
I don't know what
creepy.
you want. Here's the other weird thing about this movie. Once again, I don't mean to criticize the criticism, but it's hard not to, especially when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've seen this from multiple, and this is not just people. I've seen this from multiple mainstream, published in major publications critics.
John Campbell versus The Atlantic.
I do have a bone to pick with David Sims, who called this the Star Wars movie to fall asleep to. Because I think he's saying this and I've seen that. I don't know if he uses these words, but I've seen these words used. This movie does nothing to advance the story of Star Wars. The fuck does that mean?
Also,
What is the
not
story of
true,
Star
but
Wars?
whatever.
But what is the story of Star Wars?
Broadly speaking, a galactic conflict between the rebellion and the empire that moves in cyclical loops and that will never truly end because it is a metaphor for the larger conflict between the struggles of good and evil and the balance of light and dark in the galaxy.
Yeah, I mean that's nominally what it's about, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't about that in Star Wars.
I know,
but or that's backgrounded. I mean, in this movie, I would say that's here, but it's maybe backgrounded a little bit because I mean the whole. I love. By the way,
no, it's not. The whole final act is them versus the Hutt twins. This movie features the crumbling of the Heart Cartel.
I love the setup of this movie with. Because it's a very me movie. If you take out all the space stuff, it is about a lone, contractor being hired by the government to hunt down enemies of the state.
Yeah, this is
Rad.
Mandalorian Nazi hunter.
Rad. Yeah, he's just, and also the sabacc cards, the playing cards they gave out to soldiers during the Al Qaeda stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
Great touch. And Sigourney Weaver's his handler. I mean, we're starting at a B+ just with all that information.
Did I wish Sigourney Weaver had a little bit more to do in this movie?
Sure.
Yeah. She's a fun little voice and it's fun to see her wheeling and dealing in the Rebel.
When she gets out of an X-Wing?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Sir.
it's all good.
The worth the price of admission.
The price of admission for me was seeing all the Dejarik monsters on screen, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I also got to say, as a monster fan, holy God, this thing is a creature feature, sir.
But seeing all of those little, when we saw 3PO and Chewbacca playing space chess in the first Star Wars movie, I'm like, oh, what are all these weird little creatures? And then seeing them all here killing people was like, hell yeah, all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, talk about a creature feature. There are monsters top to bottom in this movie.
Something I heard somebody else say about this movie and that I agree with is this is a major studio release that I saw in IMAX.
Same.
Yeah. And multiple times there are only puppets on screen.
It makes me so
happy.
That's
just so weird. It's so weird and unusual. And I love that. Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, we're both big puppet guys. We both were raised on Muppet.
I'm still angry that Netflix canceled the Dark Crystal show.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. That, I will say, that stuff is not as much my jam as maybe,
That's because it's whimsical and fantastic and no one's shooting anybody.
I'm a Muppets guy, and hey, on that same note, make more Muppets. That Muppet Show special they did was the best thing I've seen in a long time. And
I mean, I really loved the
Happy.
Muppets Mayhem show as well.
I thought that was pretty good too. Yeah, I'm just like, one of my big things is I do not think Disney does enough with the fact that they own the Muppets. And I know
I
I know there's a new Muppets ride at Disney World. I'm never going to go to Florida. So,
I just watched Weird Al ride it.
yeah, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great. But I don't want to. If you do it here, put it down in Anaheim, I'll go.
Okay.
Actually, I probably won't because rides are scary. But I'm not a rides guy. I'm not a roller coaster guy. I like a dark ride. I like a calm dark ride. Anyway, this movie though, it's just a lot of fun. I don't know. It's a fun pew pew space adventure about a baby and his father.
Yeah, it's Lone Wolf and Cub, and like we've known that from as soon as that was like established as the premise for the Mandalorian show, I was just like, all right, continuing adventures of grizzled old veteran who has to care for this young child, and young child can eventually start to help out as well.
I mean, and that's because also I have heard people say like they don't change this movie. Just there's nothing. This is a pointless story. I'm like, I'm not going to say it's like a huge story, but it is about the son starting to find his place, starting to become the father, starting that journey.
Big chunk of the third act is Grogu alone.
Yeah. Which
is
again,
wild. I did not see coming.
Why is that not being touted as a riskier move? Like, that is crazy. There's an animatronic Yoda puppet
who doesn't
on
talk
screen without speaking for I don't know 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's a crazy move. And then people are like, yeah, there's nothing going on here. I'm like, that's some bold filmmaking from Jon Favreau.
And I mean, look, this is undoubtedly a movie that the pitch for it is probably towards more of an all-inclusive family affair, right? Bring your kids to this one.
That was firmly the audience I saw it with. There were lots and lots of kids who were very, very excited and seemed to have a great time, though. That's not a bad thing, you know? I know people will bitch about it, but like kids being excited about Star Wars is great.
Yeah, and like this doesn't have to be Rogue One. It doesn't have to be Andor.
No, not all. I mean, one of the things, and Filoni has talked about this, is like one of the great things is you can tell all kinds of different stories, and also I would argue they have to. If you're going to argue this should be a big universe full of stuff that has different shows and movies, you have to tell different kinds of stories, or else what are you doing?
We just spent almost an hour talking effusively about Maul, which is kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of like dark, serious, contemplative. There's very little into.
I know that the cartoons are often written off as the kid shows, but not that one.
No,
not most of the Star Wars cartoons actually.
I would say even like Bad Batch really wasn't like
no, and even Rebels and Clone Wars both sort of segued out of being more kid-oriented things.
Sure. But this one is definitely more like, hey, bring the kids. Grogu's gonna stand up for himself because the kid has to stand on his own two legs. And while dad will always get back up because the strong father figure is important, and we gotta have at least one scene where Pedro Pascal takes the helmet off. But
that's contractually obligated. Gotta see that handsome mug on screen.
But it was
I did see somebody ask, how's he keeping that mustache so perfectly trimmed under that helmet?
It's a friction. He just wears it off slightly as he moves his head back and forth.
He takes it off and his hair is perfect and that mustache is just so perfectly.
Guys, it's not that kind of movie.
I know. By the way, it's the same people who, because you saw, I'm sure, the people bitching about why does Wolverine's suit grow back when he heals in that new video game?
Because it's a video game, and
yeah, I know. Sometimes you just got to go like, because Pedro Pascal's got to look like a movie star, baby.
Yeah, and because the model that they produced for the Wolverine game can't have like slowly deteriorating clothing, because eventually he'd be naked.
I love when people bring up something like that to just go like, I would never think about that. Like, just like people who have like their whole reaction to something is a hyper specific note that I'm like, I don't think I would ever even pay attention to that. And that's something like the mustache under the helmet, because when they take the helmet off, My reaction is just like, well, of course it's Pedro Pascal. That's who's
Yeah,
under the
that's what he
helmet.
looks like. Yeah.
I did see also somebody say he's ripping Disney off, man. They're paying him a full movie star salary to be in 5 minutes of this thing. To which I'm like, I don't think anyone is misleading anyone about this.
Also, don't talk to me about which actors are ripping off Disney when Robert Downey Jr. is still kicking around.
Hey, man, he's worth every penny.
I I don't know if that's true. No offense to Robert Downey Jr.,
Oh,
but like, I don't know.
I need that
Maybe
man
this
in
is
my life
just
the
the
whole time.
the Marxist in me being like, there is no like legitimate reason in my brain, ethically speaking, why the labor he is producing is worth that sort of income. But that's just me.
Well, it's just I mean, if it makes $1 billion, then he's the reason for it, according to them, which of course cannot be tested in any sort of,
Right.
objective way.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, in the same way that, like, as we just said, Pedro Pascal's got to take off his helmet because that will help ticket sales. Supposedly, there's no way to know if it wouldn't.
And if you put the word Mars in the title of a film, it will hurt ticket sales.
That we do have some pretty strong evidence. We actually have run the numbers on that, and it's bad news.
But we can call it the Martian, but we can't say guy
That's
on
fine.
Mars.
Yeah, well, Ridley Scott's Guy on Mars.
Hey, I'd watch it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing: we will see any movie with Mars in the title, so we're not exactly. You're talking to a guy who loves Mars Attacks. But what a great movie. Anyway, this though, like I said, this is one of those movies too. And this happens to us a lot, where I just go like, "You're mad about this movie?" I mean, like I said, if you really want to say it's like inconsequential, I guess, because it's just so pleasant. I just was so like charmed by it. Every planet they went to, I was on board for that adventure. Can I just say, the star of the summer is Rod of the Hutt. He's the
Rod of the Cut.
the new hunk of the summer. I loved Rod of the Hutt. I thought he was great. I know he's kind of polarizing to people.
Yeah,
Some people
Jeremy Allen White. Hearing his voice just come out of a hut, I thought he was going to do something with it, but no. And I don't know. It
I
definitely
like that
weirded me out. And I got used to it, but
I like that he's just a classic Jeremy Allen White sad boy. Jeremy Allen White's kind of always bummed and everything, right? It's always just kind of like,
yeah.
man, my life is kind of whatever. And so just this, yeah, out of a hut, he's just like, yeah, I fight in the pits, man, because I don't want to be like my piece of shit father, and
Let us not forget, this
Yeah.
is the second theatrical film
Oh,
featuring Rod
yeah,
of the Hutt.
we were there for that first one. I remember.
Yeah, the Clone Wars animated movie that was released before the show started.
Yeah.
Who boy,
Yeah.
that movie is rough. A rough sit going back to it. A lot of early Clone Wars is rougher in context of
I
what
can't say
came
that
later.
that I've rewatched it much or maybe ever.
It's the animation looks so cheap by comparison, and the fact
Sure,
that
yeah.
that was the one that was released in theaters is pretty wild in hindsight.
You know what's really interesting about that, as I think about that now, is I don't think that would get released in theaters the same way. I think now it'd be like a Fathom event if they did it
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
And that would be a lot different sensibility, because it was touted as like a Star Wars movie, which was a mistake.
Sure, because it was released in that weird period between the prequels were done and the Disney stuff hadn't quite started rolling out yet.
Right, and it was definitely a time when it was like, hey, is there more Star Wars, and what is it going to look like? And if it's going to look like this, because I remember being like, I'm not going to watch that fucking show.
Who's this girl in a tube top carrying around a baby slug named Stinky? I don't know what's happening here.
That was a definite low moment for me, where I'm like, I don't know, maybe the franchise isn't for me anymore. I will never give up on Star Wars, but there have been times in my life where I think Star Wars has given up on me, and that was one of them. Like, I guess you don't care about making me want to watch this. That's okay. Anyway, though, this movie I don't think does that, because I do think, boy, like I said, there's definitely a lot of stuff for the kids. All the Grogu stuff. I am fine with Grogu. I do not have the Grogu obsession that a lot of fans do, of course.
There's look. They made a character who's going to sell toys.
I saw it with my sister, who bought the Grogu popcorn bucket and is just obsessed with that little guy. And that's great. I think he's fine.
Images online of the altars to Grogu that have been built.
Sure, of course.
Lord knows. Let's see. Do I have a Grogu within reach right now? Yeah, I do. There's one up there.
Okay. I maybe have two, and they're both connected to my Mando figures. Like
I have smaller Grogu figurines. I've got a few minifigs. I bought the
oh,
big heads Lego versions that are like the big
no.
squat figurines that are
Oh
like
yeah,
weirdly proportioned. Um,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
like I've got my fair share.
My point is not I have no issue with Grogu, but like there was a distinct, you could tell what section of the audience, because I saw it opening day in a pretty big crowd.
Mm,
Um and so you could tell what section of the people had come for, I'm going to react to every time they cut to him doing something cute, right? And
mm,
that's not my thing. I don't have a problem with it, but like, oh, he's going to sneeze, like
yeah,
it's just, yeah, and you're like, oh, I mean, I respect the puppetry of it. I think the people who control, I think Favreau said it takes 6 people to control Grogu fully,
wow,
because he's spends the majority of this movie he's an animatronic. There are
yeah,
times he's CGI, there's times he's like an actual puppet.
hmm
But for the most part, he's an animatronic creature. And I said, you said they even in this one found a way to make the animatronic swim, which did look pretty cool when
yeah,
he's
I know
swimming.
for sure.
He's an impressive thing, but the Grogu of it all is not the selling point for me. So what my point about that is when we're saying about like this is when you can bring the kids to and stuff like that. There's still plenty of badassery in this though, if you're looking for that.
Sure. I mean, the opening
Opening,
sequence, yeah, with Mandalorian like shooting guys in the head as he's casually walking past, that rules.
mhm, mhm. I mean, the whole opening sequence, Favreau is cop to. That was our Bond opening, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's a total and it's all in the trailer, right? All the AT-AT stuff is so
sure.
good. And watching AT-ATs go off of cliffs and stuff like that is just cool to see, of course. I also love anything set in the snow. Snow is like my favorite setting for a movie. So all that
I
stuff.
loved Mando getting admonished for accidentally killing a ex-war criminal.
Was it messy? Isn't that what she keeps saying? Is messy.
Yeah,
Your work is you're effective, but you're messy, Mando.
we could learn a lot more if you brought these guys in alive.
Yeah. Or as I do like when the guy's flying away, he's just like, no. And I did love the that whole bit where Grogu is tapping him on the helmet because the thermal detonators, but he's like, hold on, I got to get my shot. And I'm aware it's about to blow up, but I think I can take this son of a bitch. And he does. And he goes down, and you're like, ooh. I also love that moment when they have the meeting of all the Imperial Remnant guys, and then the Mandalorian shows up, and just the one guy goes into his little escape elevator, just leaves everybody else, and then they all go, he went in there.
They all drop their guns and point. Yeah. Well, that was
Right over
actually you talk about like not progressing the story of Star Wars, and it
No,
frustrates me to
no,
no
I'm
end.
not saying. I'm not saying.
I know. But like people out there who say that,
Yeah.
what are they looking for other than the next big epic confrontation that we were let down? Like we were sort of denied that because of what happened with Rise of Skywalker, right? The
Yeah.
fact that it looped back in on itself gave everyone a sour taste in their mouth. So
One of the things
whatever the
that I found
next
refreshing about this movie was how small scale it actually is.
Yeah, and the fact that what we progress in the Star Wars story, if you want to even call it that, in this film, is this idea of the Imperial remnants kicking around, them badgering systems into complying, them running side hustles in the form of like fighting pits, and the
Yeah.
fact that the New Republic is trying to send guys like Mando and Zeb out there to like hunt these
Oh,
assholes down.
I'm so glad you mentioned Zeb
Oh,
because
I could not get away from this without mentioning Garazeb Aurelios, John.
I love Zeb so much. I love that character, and of course, I mean, once again, like we are suckers for this. We know we're compromised because I'm like, once again, it's worth the price of admission that I got to see Zeb on an IMAX screen. What in
You
my
want to
life?
know?
In
You want
my
to know the
life?
actor that was in both this and Maul?
Is it Steve Bloom?
It's Steve Bloom, of course, the
Yeah,
indomitable Steve Bloom.
one of the great voice actors out there.
Uh, let's see, who
Yeah,
did he
he's
play
great.
in Maul? Oh, he played one of the heads of the Pikes.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: if there's a voice to be done, Steve Bloom is doing it. Something. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Sure.
the amount of credits that guy has is insane. Insane how many things
Yeah.
he does. I mean, that's the thing about voice acting, right? It's actually a pretty small world. So if you have a good reputation, you will get hired for everything.
881 credits on IMDb.
Yeah, I mean that's not unusual at all for somebody who's a longtime voice actor.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's just like it's a pretty small world. So you're like, oh, you want Steve, you get Steve because he's good. He did my last thing. He'll be good in this. I want it. By the way, if anyone knows how to get into that world, that's what.
But yes, seeing a like fully realized character from Rebels, and obviously these are all Filoni's guys because he created this crew.
This is the other big criticism I've heard about Filoni. Oh, his allegiance is only to his own characters. I'm just like, well, couldn't you say that about George? I guess. I mean, like, what does that mean?
And also, at this point, his characters are the ones that have been the center of Star Wars since the Disney acquisition, to a certain extent. Yeah. Otherwise, we're just retreading the boards with, all the familiar characters.
It is sort of a thing about, like, who do you want these movies to be about?
The ones who are the loudest just want them to do the Legends stuff, right? They just want a word-for-word adaptation of Heir to the Empire, and that's it.
I just saw an article. I didn't read it because it was just going to make me mad, but it came my way where somebody goes like, well, Mandalorian flop, time to stop pretending that these movies shouldn't be about Luke Skywalker. It's like, oh my God, that's the takeaway? That's the stupidest takeaway. If they made a cool Luke Skywalker movie, of course I'd be there to see it. But I'm not sure the lesson is these movies need to solely be about Luke Skywalker again.
I also love the folks that are just like, can we finally get Sebastian Stan in there as a young Luke? And I'm like, that picture that always circulates is like an AI mashup of Sebastian Stan and
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. So like already that's a compromised vision that was never real. And also, Sebastian Stan maybe has already aged out of that role.
He's probably, if you did it right now, I think he'd be right maybe for Luke immediately, in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. But, once again, if they announce tomorrow Sebastian Stan Luke Skywalker movie, great. But the other thing, who'd bitch about it? Those same people.
Yeah.
Someone else is playing Luke because they found a perfect Han Solo. And you guys bitched about it. I think Alden Ehrenreich was an amazing Han Solo. And they did nothing but shit on that movie. So, what do you want? I mean, there's sort of that thing about, like, this way you just can't listen to the fans.
No.
I remember the great Len Wein. I always bring this up. The legend talked about when he was writing Thor. He said, Thor was dating Lady Sif. And I would get all these letters saying, no, he has to be with Jane Foster. Jane Foster's true love. It's got to be Jane Foster. And then eventually he wrote the comic long enough that it's a comic book. So he ends up dating Jane Foster. And then he got letters saying, he's got to be Lady Sif. Lady Sif's his true love. He goes, and I looked, and they were the same people. So I said, I'm not going to listen to what anybody's saying anymore because it doesn't matter. They don't even know what they want. So who cares? Just write what I think needs to happen. And I think that's a fair attitude is... Well, because I think when you start thinking about what the internet thinks, you get a movie like Rise of Skywalker, and I'm going to move on after I say that.
Yeah, and it's because we get headlines that are like, Star Wars fans say blah.
Star Wars fans say, yeah.
And what that is 4 or 5 effusive people online who are making money off of righteous indignation, or at least they think it's righteous indignation.
100%.
And
they're grifting.
Yeah. When it comes to the two of us, it's easy for us to fall down this rabbit hole of complaining about the complainers, right? Because we're coming at it from a place of, we like this stuff, and hearing people shit on it sucks. Yeah. And like,
it bums me out that
why is it so hard for us to just like stuff and not shit on people who like that stuff?
The other thing I will say about this movie is I think this is a really smart movie to put out now because it is kind of lower stakes. And I feel like Star Wars needed to just make a fun movie again. I think Rise of Skywalker bummed a lot of people out, even though it made a lot of money. I do think the general sense I get from most people I just interact with in my life, I'm not talking about Reddit, is like, oh yeah, that didn't really do what I wanted it to do. And for a lot of reasons. And that movie obviously has been, once again, it's why we avoid it. It's been autopsied to death. It actually died again during the autopsy somehow.
Well, they briefly brought it back to life and somehow it returned, but they killed it again.
They put it in a claw machine from the lobby of a Bennigan's and It's still the best description I've heard of him in that movie, which is a shout out to the guys at We Hate Movies. That's not my joke. I don't. Yeah. Why is Palpatine in a claw machine from the lobby of Bennigan? Anyway, but the thing about this is they just needed, and I've said this about Marvel, I've said this about a lot of stuff, is like they needed like a solid double to put it into baseball parlance, which is a weird choice, I know, for a
And
Star
like
Wars
that,
podcast.
you've lost me.
I know, yeah. What sport ball? But no, they need to just like make something that was just like a general crowd pleaser. And I think regardless of how much money it did, I will say the full crowd I saw it with seemed to have a really good time.
Yeah, same. I mean, I saw it on a Monday evening. The crowd was still pretty packed, and like everyone was having a good time. There were the cheers at all the right moments.
Yep. Yeah, I had the exact same thing, and you can feel when an audience is vibing with a movie. I will say, actually, it was one of the better theater experiences I had. That it did seem like most people were really there to watch the movie, because usually I get pissed. I didn't notice people on their phones. I didn't notice people not.
Yeah.
Even the kids were, and this is what 2 hours 10, something like that.
I had an interesting theater experience with this one. There were a couple of guys sitting behind us that I heard one of them like cross his arms, lean over to whoever he was seeing the movie with as the trailers were going, saying like, all right, gonna strap in for this. Like there was like some kind of like snide remark about like them going into this movie arms crossed.
Yeah.
And so I was, in the way that Mike Gorgoni do, prepared to stand up at some point and say shut the fuck up to people who were making snide comments behind me. I'm known to do that in theaters.
Yeah. You're a bigger gentleman than I, so I don't do that.
I know. And like,
I will die in the following fight that
happens. I have the privilege of being a wide dude with a bald head who can look intimidating, and I accept that privilege and I use it sparingly, but I will use it in movie theaters.
Yes, I've seen you do it, and I will say it is a comforting feeling when I'm there. When in the times we have gone to movies together, when you do it, I am like, oh, good. I'm glad somebody did it.
Yeah. But all that being said, the two guys who like were making comments behind me during the trailers shut up when the movie started, because this thing zips and you get pulled along, and there's shooting blasters, and there's Hutts body slamming people, and there's big stop motion animation droids, and there's puppets running around, and the Anzellans are cute and charming, and there's weird water cobra guys, and it never stops.
I said the thing about the Grogu cuteness doesn't work on me. You know what does? The Anzellans. I have a real affinity for the Anzellans. Hey. One of the only good things we got out of Rise of Skywalker is the Anzellans, and I'm so glad they realized.
Frick.
Because it will never fail to make me laugh when they say things like "bad baby," "bad terrible baby," "horrible baby,"
"big pipe."
Yeah, anything like that. We come back. When they come back at the end, they go, "We thought we come back. We come back." By the way, do you know who does the voice of all the Anzellans?
No.
Shirley Henderson, who was also Moaning Myrtle in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, huh.
That was the voice of Babu Frick, and subsequently is the singular voice of every Anzellan. I just read that the other day. I was like, wow.
Good for her.
Yeah, she voices every Anzellan. I love that every Anzellan has the same voice, regardless. They all just are that. But yeah.
I don't know how to feel about the fact that her IMDb, like, all the photos are just Anzellans.
Yeah. Because I do think we did come out of Rise of Skywalker with a love of Babu Frick, and because he's great. He's a great Star Wars design. They're little, what are they, like 8 inches tall? I mean, they're little.
Yeah.
I laughed very hard at the beat when we have to escape in our spaceship, and of course it's scaled to Anzellans, and so Mando's like,
Mando rolls up, he's just like,
Just the shot of Grogu and the Anzellans crowded into that ship is great.
Yeah, no, it's good, and it's like a fun alien design, and something that Star Wars, especially the Disney movies, have been a little bad at, is having like diverse aliens running around. It was something that we got, at least in terms of like size and shape disparity. Say what you will about Jar Jar Binks and the Gungans, like we had a distinctly alien character walking around the whole time.
I think one of the things that we can all agree on that the prequels have over the sequels is design work, right? The prequels do not rest on the laurels of previous Star Wars and do introduce a ton of new designs, whether that be ship, planet, or alien. And I think that's undeniable, and is something I think I've always said I would have liked to have seen more of in the sequels, is taking chances on big new imagery and stuff like that.
Because even our most
yeah,
distinct alien character that we get in the sequels, I would say, is probably Maz Kanata, but she's
yeah,
just like a wrinkly old lady.
yeah. I mean, I love her little goggles,
Yeah,
but
yeah, don't get me wrong.
yeah. No,
But
no slight on Maz Kanata, but we could have used some more Maz Kanatas, and some
yeah,
more stuff.
but like
I like
the
whatever that
sequels weren't
weird.
about to give us a Dexter Jetster. I'll say that much.
I have a real affinity for the alien that Joseph Gordon-Levitt voices in Last Jedi, who's like, "Hey, they done parked their ships on the beach. We ain't cool, man."
But he gets like one line
Yeah,
in the whole like Canto Bite thing, which is
but I
so
will
oft
say,
maligned.
I know, but I will say, Canto Bight is one of the only places where they do have a bunch of crazy designs. So
It's true.
you
Yeah.
know, say what you will, that was their cantina scene in that movie where there's a bunch of crazy shit, including weird Southern guy going like, "Yeah, can't park here."
But this movie features again in terms of like like
Oh
two of
my
our
god,
three main characters. If we include Rod of the Hutt as one of our main characters, which he basically
which
is
we
in the
definitely
back
should.
half of the movie.
Absolutely should. And also, he loves Grogu, which is great.
Yeah.
Can I
Um,
feed him? Grogu loves
but
his
yeah,
food.
no, this movie, it's getting a lot of hate. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Again, I think you're like concise. If you like the show, you're gonna like this. I think
Well,
that
because I mean, I
basically
will say
sums it up.
the same people who are shitting on the movie are also the same people who are like, the show hasn't been good since the first season. You're like that stuff too, and
Sure.
you're like, because I have seen people go like, the show was shit by the end. So I'm just like, well, of course, then you didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
If you think that. I enjoy this. I'm a big Jon Favreau fan in general. I feel like Favreau is such a good blockbuster filmmaker. I think he really does understand where to put the laughs, the action, the emotions, and I think this just works. I don't think this is the greatest thing ever, but I think this is a totally fun Star Wars movie. I in no way regretted my time or money at this thing. And I will watch it again when it shows up on. I do think the second weekend fall off, which a lot of people point to, is people going, "Well, we took the kids, and we can watch it again on Disney Plus."
Yeah.
But and if you want to find this depressing, what I'm about to say, fine. But the other thing that people always say is, like you bring up about we were talking earlier about Masters of the Universe, which we will talk about on Panel Up in a couple weeks. But anytime, and we've said this was what was said about Tron Ares too. Anytime they release one of these, they win regardless of what it makes because it's more things to put in the park and more things to make toys of. And once
Yeah.
again, if you want to see that as the death knell of cinema, that's fine. Like just the capitalist nightmare that is that. But the silver lining of that is it means that we will continue to get Star Wars movies and ones you may like more or less. But
God knows, because there's always a delay in the Lego sets. There's the ones that come out
yeah,
before the movie releases, and then there's the
yeah,
ones that come out like a month after the movie's out that are like
yeah,
quote unquote spoiler sets. And
right.
so you'd best bet I'm waiting to get my minifig of Zeb in some fashion or another.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Or the full Dejeric fighting pit with all the monsters. Like, I want that so bad in Lego form.
Of course, and they will absolutely make that because there is no way you were alone in that. I did go to Burger King and get the Mandalorian meal and got my Zeb collector's cup.
Nice. There we
You
go.
better believe I did. Do I have anything else from this movie? I don't know if I've actually bought any other merch from this movie specifically. I did get, because my favorite character in the Mandalorian universe, no surprise, and the Mandalorian specific stuff is Cobb Vanth. The surprise is 0 people.
I thought it was
But
going to be a toss up between that and Grief Karga, but go on.
I do love Greek Car. I mean, once again, you're talking about two of my icons,
Rip
Oliphant
Carl
and
Weathers. Rest in peace.
oh, the king, man, the king, Paula Creed. But I did get Cobb Vanth's speeder Lego set.
Cool. The like stripped down half an engine of a pod racer. Yeah, that one was
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, and it comes with a minifig of him and Cad Bane like shooting at him. So
Awesome.
pretty
Speaking of
killer
bounty
idea.
hunters, didn't I mentioned it earlier when we were talking?
Yeah.
Didn't mention Embo. Love seeing another Clone Wars alum show up in this. Scary as all hell. He's got his
I will
cool
say,
hat.
he is the guy that I've seen reviews be like, "Who the hell is this guy?" If you don't know, right? So it is just like
Yeah.
because he's just given like if you don't know who he is, you are just like weird, scary guy with a creepy dog.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. I mean, I'm not that I will say there's not a whole lot more to him than that, but
Who's
it
also
is
got
like
some Kung Lao energy with his hat throwing.
oh, big Kung Lao energy. My favorite thing about him is when he just pieces out on the Huts at the end, or he's just like, "Oh no, man, I
Yeah.
have no actual allegiance to you."
They don't pay me enough to deal with
Yeah.
big scary water dragon.
I loved Big Scary Water Dragon. That was cool as hell. Because once again, I'm surprised you know there's a whole other show on this network. You can listen to me talk about monsters. I'm a monster guy, and the monsters in this movie are great.
There's an old Frank Frazetta Conan piece that is Conan
Oh,
like facing down the big snake. And
yep.
obviously they pulled from that for the Conan movie as well.
Conan versus a snake, you say? Now that's some interesting imagery.
This felt like
Yeah.
such a uh inspired by piece there
Yeah.
of Mando
And that's
versus the big snake.
that's a real that's a little morsel for us because obviously
Yeah,
we're card carrying Conan fanatics. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
you know that they're going
It's
to
me
start
and
shooting.
Jim Zub. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a oh, by the way, if you're not reading the Jim Zub Conan book right now,
Oh
you're missing
yeah.
out. It's so good. And all the crossover stuff has been great. Also, Titan is also doing a Solomon Kane book. It's very good too.
I
Um,
love,
but
not to get on too big of a tangent here, but Jim Zub has followed the Conan book from publisher to publisher for like
I know.
15 years and
Yeah,
just kept writing the same
I
story.
will say
So,
my
yeah.
I'm the kind of nerd that I'm in my room with all my comics and I organize alphabetically, but also by publisher. So I have like
Yeah.
Conan here and Conan there, and there's
Hmm.
Conan out in the other room. I've got Conan all over the place because that license keeps. But I will say I really like what Titan's been doing with it. I will also say the fact that a new Conan movie supposedly is going to start shooting early next year. Oh, King Arnold is King Conan. Come on,
Arnold is King Conan.
he's pitching it as the Logan of Conan movies.
I, I'll be prepared to weep.
Come on, man. Christopher McQuarrie's doing it. God damn. I
Yeah.
can't wait. Arnold
I
deserves
hope
that
he
because
I hope he
Destroyer.
fights one of those snake cults.
I hear they're a real problem. It's my favorite thing in this movie. I've said it before. I hear it where it's just, yeah, my daughter got taken by one of the snake. Oh
One
shit.
of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, which one? Thulsa Doom. Oh, that's a bad
Oh,
one.
that's a bad one. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. This movie, like I said, it's pulpy. I had this thought, and I'm so glad I saw somebody else say this too. One of the other critics who talk about it, saying because not like every critic hated this by any means, but I think there was a lot of like, nah, this is Star Wars. Also, I don't need every Star Wars movie to be life changing. Is another thing I would say in reaction to like a lot of the
Mm.
reviews. It's like Star Wars doesn't have to. It's like it should be an event. It should be a cultural defining. Like that's an impossible thing to put up for any movie. My God, I mean, you're going to go insane. But I saw somebody say that the episodic nature of it, because you can definitely, it's not I just wouldn't call it a criticism, but it's not. It's an accurate note that the movie is sort of segmented into little mini adventures that all
Yeah.
add up to something. But
Yeah.
somebody said
It
like
feels like
that.
the arc of a TV show, like four
Yeah,
episode arc. So calling it like stitched together, I think, is disingenuous, but it
no,
does
because that's
feel
closed really
episodic.
nice. Yes, but somebody said, and I think that's true, is like, lest we forget, Star Wars is born of Flash Gordon movie serials.
Yeah.
And in some ways, this may be the truest to that spirit. Because it was something I was thinking about. I'm like, Star Wars is made up of a lot of things. Because it really is like one man's childhood loves being put into a movie, right? So it's a little Flash Gordon. It's a little I'm into car racing. It's a little I love old World War II movies. I love samurai movies. I love Campbellian hero stuff. There's all this stuff in there. This one most harps on the like Flash Gordon planet to planet pew pew adventure, and that's
It's
great.
Flash Gordon and it's Samurai. I mean, I
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier, Lone Wolf and Cub.
I mean, that's been obviously a key touchstone for Favreau from the beginning.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
also, it's so, you can write this off as corporate product or content, but I gotta say, when I hear Favreau talk about this movie, this just came from the heart on him, man. I mean, I saw him at the premiere talking about, 50 years ago, my dad took me to see Star Wars, and now here I am with my dad next to me at the premiere of the Star. And he's tearing up because it means the world to him. These are not guys like Favreau and Filoni are not making this stuff cynically, and that goes a long way for me.
Yeah, because you can crap on the balancing act, and we often do, between the need for corporate to make money versus the need to make art, right? Like art versus commerce, tale as old as time.
It's and especially in film, it's basically been the debate from day one as an industry. Yeah. There's so much money to make these things.
To see a film like this writ large on the big screen, and like you say, there are scenes where there's nothing but puppets on the screen. There is scenes
that
where
doesn't feel very corporate to me.
There are weird deep cut characters that you have to have your lean over moment and say, like, oh, that's Embo, he's from the show. There's a guy, he has a hat.
Yeah, I saw Favreau talking about this, that he said, every time I make one of these, I go, I want to use this character. And Dave will have to be like, you can't. We actually are going to do something over it. And so, but the idea that Jon Favreau is the kind of nerd for these things that I'm like, here's the list of characters I want to put in my thing, and that he has to get approval is kind of fun to think about.
But my point is, decisions like that aren't made because they think it's going to be the best for, like, corporate and numbers.
No.
That's how we get a Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, yes, it is that, at the end of the day, my biggest issue with that movie is it feels like every scene I can see the red pen notes in it.
Yeah. That's not what this film feels like.
No, not at all. This one really, and also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention at least one last thing before we bring up here, which is this plucky young actor getting his start, Martin Scorsese. I got to say, this kid's got a future. I think he's really... Seeing his name as an actor in the opening credits of this movie, and also, there is no doubt which alien is Martin Scorsese.
He's got the eyebrows. You can't get away from him.
Yeah. And he's, he's that guy. Yeah, and he's making...
I don't know nothing.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about anything. Shop's closed, man.
I loved his little hover sandwich, like, meat rotisserie thing.
So good. Hey, man, I got kids to feed here. I can't be getting in trouble for that. And, of course, he's talking a mile a minute because that's just how Scorsese talks.
Yeah, I think this kid's got a future, for sure.
Yeah. I will say, this is now maybe the third thing I've seen him act in. People are starting to cast him in stuff now. In his 80s, a character acting career is starting for Mr. Scorsese.
I need a Scorsese type.
Yeah, perhaps our greatest living director. In the running for. So
his character name in this is Hugo Durant. I don't know if that's name is ever said out loud.
No, it's definitely not.
But that's what it's going to say on the action figure for sure.
And you think I'm not buying a Scorsese action figure? I mean, are you kidding me? As close as I'm going to get to having Hugo Durant. But yeah, because he was also in the movie Jonah Hill directed earlier this year, and he was. If anyone didn't watch Seth Rogen's The Studio, you absolutely should. And he's so funny in it. Scorsese's so good as himself, of course. He has acted before. He does little cameos in his own movies. Sure. He was on Curb Your Enthusiasm as himself. But I mean, like, it is just...
Yeah, he was on an episode of 30 Rock and Entourage also as himself.
Yeah. And like he's in Quiz Show a little bit. I mean, he has acted, but it is still just like, I'll come voice an alien.
Sure, yeah. I'm wondering if he did any mocap for it. I'd be curious.
I will say, if he didn't, they captured the Scorsese energy pretty perfectly, though.
Yeah.
He's a little skittery guy, He's just a tiny little Italian man from New York. He's just he's over here doing that. When Scorsese was a cocaine addict in the 70s, you just couldn't understand what he was saying, right? I have to imagine, because I just like the man
sound
is
like
so
a tape being rewound.
The man is so hopped up in general that you're like, really? This guy was like a cokehead?
Shocker, I know.
Yeah, I did see in the great. I also recommend people watch Mr. Scorsese, the multi-part Apple documentary about him, but I do like that Spielberg is in there going like, I didn't like hanging out with him when he was on cocaine. I'm like, yeah, I didn't like that, Marty. Anything else you want to say about this movie? I mean, it's like I said, it's just a fun. I really had a fun time with it.
Yeah, I've seen it twice now.
Oh, hey, wow, you went again, yeah.
Well, because the first time I was maybe a little bit more entranced with my partner's take on the film. I
Yeah.
watched this with my partner. She had not watched a single episode of The Mandalorian. That was
Can I just say that you said that to me before, and can I say
yeah,
how is that possible that you live in the same place and that never happened?
because we have a healthy relationship and all of my likes don't have to be her likes.
But just in general, it just feels like something that would be on. I don't know.
Sure. Look, maybe she
Not the
has
same
like
place. Yeah.
but through cultural osmosis,
Yeah.
sheer brute force baby Yoda of it all, she
Well, I
knew
mean, the baby Yoda of it all is
yeah,
unavoidable.
yeah,
He's
for
everywhere.
sure. So
Yeah.
she was aware of the basic concept of
He was
guy
doing
in
press.
armor with gun has baby
Yeah.
Yoda with him.
Yeah. By the way, great press tour on this thing. They actually took the puppet around
That's
and
cool.
did talk shows and stuff with the puppet. It's pretty great. Anyway,
Um,
I'm curious, what
well,
was her take on this? Because I think this movie is enjoyable as a movie, but you're gonna maybe miss a lot of the like nuance aspects of it.
but the nuance is for us. The nuance isn't for
Right.
the people who might just be watching this movie with their kids, right?
No, I think the basic emotional like arcs of the movie will still land.
The words
You just
she
won't have
used
to like.
were fun and cute, and she really liked all the stuff with the puppets. And like
Sure, yeah.
that was her takeaway. And it was a fun action movie. It never slowed down long enough for her to fall asleep during. Um
No, it moves along pretty well. I will say that's another thing too. And I think actually the episodic nature of that is benefits that
yeah.
because you're always zipping over to the next thing.
But for a person who, again, no connection to these characters, she's not a huge Star Wars fan. She
Yeah,
likes Star Wars and will see every movie with me.
sure.
But she hasn't watched any of the shows.
Yeah.
Isn't super interested in diving into that corner of fandom, and that's okay. Um,
I mean,
but
I'll say it's okay for this.
well, but just in terms
Yeah.
of like, there
Yeah.
are so many things to be fans of these days. Obviously, Star
This
Wars is
is
a
true.
big deal
True.
and has been for a
Listen.
long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if like someone wants to start getting into Star Wars, I don't know if I point them toward this movie as the starting point.
I would say no. I would not say this is a starting point, but I would say this is probably. I see this as could be enjoyable for people who don't know this stuff.
Her
I mean, it
her
feels
reaction to it though let me know that this movie is eminently approachable.
yeah.
If
I think it.
you
Yeah.
are aware of the iconography of Star Wars, of the like general vibe of Star Wars, we got Hutts. Jabba the Hutt's been a thing in culture since Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah.
We got big scary space monsters. We got a guy with a blaster and a cute little puppet baby, and like there's a lot to hang your hat on just on those premises alone.
And the movie gives you the little like the rebellion is over and they're cleaning up the scraps of the. So you're dropped in with a little like,
Yeah.
oh okay, got it.
I think this movie is totally watchable if you've never watched an episode of The Mandalorian. Will you be as invested in the relationship between
Yeah,
the
maybe
father and
that's
son dynamic, though?
the
Probably not.
the investment, I guess, is what I was trying to
Yeah.
get at when I said like nuance. But yeah, that's what it is, right? It's like you're maybe not gonna, get as caught up in it, but I think it's still fun. I think this and Solo are the
Yeah.
two movies that are the most like I think because I mean, look, I will die on the hill of Solo, obviously. But I just
Yeah.
think that
I
movie
mean,
is
I
such a
love that movie as well.
zip zap fun adventure summer blockbuster. And I think this
Something
is
something I said back in our panel on panel review of Rise of Skywalker. We
yes.
came into that movie
I'm
and
not pretentious at all, not
sure,
hyper.
but
Yeah.
I came out of that movie with a hotter opinion of it than I would develop later as
Mm.
that movie like grew on me like a canker sore.
I do think that movie gets, and I came out of that movie hating that movie, and I think I hate it more now. I think that movie does,
it suffers
like,
upon rewatch.
because I will say, and I've actually never rewatched it, but the more I even think about it, the more I'm like, Why did they make that choice? God, that's such a bad decision.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is something I say in that review. I've gone back and re-listened to it. Something I
Ooh,
say in that
you're a
is
braver man than me.
that I love Star Wars, and that something that movie does is it does big Star Wars moments cranked up to 11. It has the most Star Wars per volume of Star Wars in certain moments, for good and for ill, for both things.
I think most of the big set pieces in that movie are satisfying as individual set pieces of
But
Star Wars-y
this
stuff. Agreed.
But The Mandalorian and Grogu is
Mhm.
also a lot of Star Wars. But it is
Oh
Star Wars at like good old fashioned home cooking that isn't gonna set the world on fire. This ain't
yeah,
gourmet. This is like
this is your
solid,
mom's
stick to
meatloaf.
your ribs.
Yeah,
That was some Star Wars.
absolutely. And so yeah, it is not going to. I will say, I'm very curious for next summer when we have a movie that is seeming. I mean, they really seem to be advertising it, at least at the moment, as disconnected from anything, and is really a new like standalone adventure in Starfighter.
Yeah.
Very curious to see what
Very
that is,
curious.
because I think that's going to have more. This has the built-in of like, well, it's the Mandalorian movie. I think
Yeah.
Starfighter is going to, for better or worse, is going to have a lot of people going like, all right, sell me. What is
I
this?
mean,
Who are
the
these
selling point
characters?
is Ryan Gosling, right?
Well, I mean, tickets sold over here. You're talking to one of the grade A Gosling fans. This is
Sure.
I'm going for a Ryan Gosling movie. I will go to any Ryan Gosling movie, regardless of if it happens to also be Star Wars, all the better.
Great.
But I will
Yeah.
see that man in anything. I love him.
He'll get butts and seats, that's for sure.
I do think it is a smart decision to build a Star Wars movie around a movie star
Yeah.
that just proved earlier this year that he will get people into a theater. It's Project
Yeah.
Hail Mary turned into, and I think a lot of that is due
Project Hail
to.
Mary is still in theaters with multiple run times a day.
Yep,
It's wild
yep.
how much legs that movie has.
And honestly, I mean that's a great book. They had great source material to work off of, but you don't get there without that. That had to be Gosling. You know, I mean
Yeah.
that's a guy, much like The Martian and Matt Damon, both Andy Weir books, where those are you have to have a movie star because both of those movies have people spending, and Project Hail Mary even more so. A lot of it is just Gosling
Yeah. Yeah,
and a
for
puppet.
sure.
It's a big,
Yeah.
big year for puppets.
Good year for puppets. Yeah. Huh.
Good year for 2026 is a good year for puppets. It was the year
I,
of the puppet. We had the year of the
well,
Ewok. This is the year of the puppet.
1985 was the year of the Ewok, 2026 year of the puppet. I'd be okay with that if it ended up
I'm fine with
we need
that.
one more puppet thing for a trifecta, I think. We have the
Yeah, I don't
Muppet
know.
Show special, I guess.
Oh, how wonderful was that? I'm sorry to
That
bring
was
that up.
very
Yeah,
good.
I was just like, I need 100 episodes of this greenlit right now
I did
because
have Elmo interacting with the stars of the live action One Piece, and that was pretty good.
oh, that is good. Yeah, yeah. I'm not. Elmo's fine. I feel like we were slightly ahead of the Elmo generation.
Uh,
He was
Elmo,
around, but he
yeah.
wasn't yet at peak Elmo though, because we
I
were.
mean, peak Elmo was Tickle Me Elmo, right?
That's what I was gonna say, and then that
Yeah.
was just after our. So like, I'm a Bert and Ernie guy. Those are my boys.
Hey, you can talk to me about pigeons any day, John.
All right, let's wrap this up then. I think we've good Star Wars be good.
Star Wars good. I mean,
Yeah.
we're so biased. We're so the guys who are in the tank for this.
I think Rise of
But
Skywalker is the only Star Wars thing I would say I actively dislike, honestly. Like truly dislike. I can measure some level of enthusiasm about almost any other Star Wars thing.
I tend to agree. And
Yeah.
I think Mandalorian and Grogu goes in the bank of like, it's Star Wars, it's good, it's fun.
I will like I said, I will watch this again on Disney Plus and have a good time.
And Maul actually
Maul's very good.
Maul is elevated. And I think we spent more time talking about Maul because like
I
you and
think
I
it's
both
just
connected with it harder.
And I think it is meatier. I think it is aimed at a more mature audience. I think there is more there. But
Yeah.
once again, the thing I'm glad to see them doing is that you can have both and they can exist within the universe. And I think that's great for this as a shared universe of stories.
But
Like we said, I don't want everything to be Andor. I also love Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. The thing I really appreciate about Maul, though, is that it gave me the thing I love most about Star Wars, which is space wizard melodrama, and the thing you love most about Star Wars, which is gritty street level space
Yeah.
noir. And it made one show that does them both.
Oh, and it did build so well. I will say, every time I hear about that show that George was developing before he sold, I'm like, why didn't that Star Wars Underworld? Why didn't that happen?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that didn't happen.
Yeah, well, oh, yeah. Like many a franchise, there's a lot of what ifs with Star Wars.
Maybe we should be glad for some of that, though, because detours never saw the light of day.
Detours!
Go look up the trailer for Star Wars Detours if you don't remember this very quick swerve that was about to happen before the Disney acquisition. There was like there's like 50 episodes of that show, from what I understand, done.
That's what I heard, and it was just completely shelved. And what I've seen of it, thank God.
Yeah. So,
and I say
anyway,
that I love Seth Green. It's a real bummer.
Go see Mandalorian Grogu. Watch Star Wars Maul. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on both. Obviously, we're happy to hear criticisms about both things. Keep it civil. We're here to enjoy Star Wars. We love the things that we love. If you just want to be here to shit on something, take your words elsewhere. You don't have to say anything. If you disagree with us, great. But people do so in a respectful fashion.
People are saying Mandalorian Grogu, it didn't work for me. It isn't the flavor of Star Wars I want. That's fine. That's a totally valid opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but also you don't need to be like, and if you like it, you're a stupid idiot.
And yeah, if you're saying it's the worst movie you've ever seen, I recommend you go watch I don't know, Manos Hands of Fate. Go watch that movie and then come back to me.
You come back to me and tell me that anything other than that is the worst movie of all time.
But I think that is going to do it for us this week. This was a long one. We were talking about a lot of Star Wars. But we'll be back to our comics coverage next week as we begin to wrap up on the original Marvel Star Wars run. Can't wait to get to the end of that and move on into bigger and better things. But as always, I have been Mike Rigoni.
I'm John Campbell.
And remember, may the panel be with you.